good morning, good afternoon, good evening. It's Wednesday. It's another episode of the weekly tech forum sponsored by Love My Tool. Our format is a little bit different. Although we have a full panel, it's not going to be exactly the same panel discussions as we have in the past. Today we're actually going to be interviewing Marty Pejko, who's the COO of a company called Centerity, right? Marty?
Centerity. Centerity.
Centerity.com. Sorry about that. But before I introduce Marty, I would like to introduce our panel today. And first, I'd like to introduce a friend who's been absent for a little while because he's been so busy with his company, John Kerber, who is the co-founder and CEO of who'sonmywifi.com. John actually has written either one or two articles for Love My Tool, and his company has a piece of software that allows you to analyze people who are not supposed to be on your Wi-Fi, and you can actually go to his website. If you look at his banner, it's got his website. You can go and download a copy. It's full function, and if you need more than that, he's more than happy to take your money. Our next panel is Paul. Paul Offord has been a very is one of the newer writer, but he's making up for lost time. He's been writing a lot and being on the panel. Good afternoon, Paul. Good evening, actually.
Yeah. It's just after 5:30 in the evening here, and it's a lovely sunny day for a change. So we're basking in the sun.
Now this is evening time for you, but is it before or after martini?
No, it's going to go past 6 o'clock before they let me near the wine bottle yet, so I'm still sober.
Okay, well, next time we try it not sober, okay? Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Paul. And Tony is back. Tony actually booked us into his schedule today. Wonderful. Thank you, Tony.
Glad to be here.
And finally, my better half, Tim O'Neill. OCOM guy. Hi, Tim.
Hello, everybody. Hope you are all having a beautiful day.
Yeah. So we're here to talk about Marty's company. If I understand it correctly, Marty's company is still kind of in that sort of stealthy, not so stealthy mode. And correct me if I'm wrong, Marty.
We're not really stealth. We're not stealth by choice. We're probably stealth by again, our competition. But we are not stealth at all. We're out there and want to be heard.
Perfect. So go ahead and tell us about the company and about your involvement. I understand that you've been with the company for about 2 years now? I know you have written an article for Love My Tool some time ago.
Yes, I've been with the company for about 2 years, but actually started a year prior to that, so almost 3 years now. I came from IBM, actually IBM through an acquisition. I worked for a company called Gartner, which is in database security, very much an enterprise class solution, and decided to leave IBM because IBM is a very closed environment and love the startup space. There's a lot of freedom to be creative, and that's where I wanted to be, and that's why I'm here.
And what's your role in the company? I understand that most of the technical people are in Israel, right?
That's correct. R&D is in Israel, but we're starting to add R&D people here as well to be closer to our customers. The headquarters are here, so the CEO sits here. I sit here just outside of Boston, Massachusetts, in Needham, and we're expanding very quickly here.
Okay. So tell us about your company and technology, and maybe start with a typical customer. And a typical problem that you like to solve.
Well, typical problem is that what our founders did is that they discovered long ago that there was a really lack of holistic visibility into IT systems, IT devices, IT infrastructure. Customers couldn't really see what was happening across their entire environment. And what you see in the environment in terms of IT monitoring tools is that there are a lot of tools out there that do individual type things. They'll monitor security, or they'll do servers, or they'll do storage. You've got these siloed tools that do a pretty good job at maybe addressing that silo, But what they don't do is give you a visibility across those technical domains. So they don't tell you how your servers or your storage are impacting your networks or vice versa. Ultimately, what customers want to see, what management wants to see, and the business wants and needs is to have that cross-platform, cross-technology, and cross-functional visibility. And they also want to see how their critical processes are doing. So if you're running a bank or you're running a trading company, you want to see what your trading function is doing, your trading process is doing. And that process is just not one application. It's all the supporting networking. It's all the supporting big data. It's all the supporting servers. It's all that infrastructure comes together and delivers a business process to the organization. But unless IT can see all the components and how they interact and impact each other in real time, you're missing the point. And that's what we do.
I think one thing that I do see with Centerity is, I think they refer to it as single pane of glass. Isn't that right, Marty?
That's right. We have a single pane of glass to the environment. Now, a lot of companies use that term. We do as well, but we believe we're the broadest platform in the market today. So we have very elegant capture methodologies in terms of capturing metrics, either agentlessly or agent-based capture methodologies, and we can bring all the data in one location and normalize it, and then we can analyze your business processes and give you the status of your business processes in real time. If you're not very broad, if you're very narrow, you can't do that. But we're very, very broad, and we do things like all the physical layer for network switches, routers, etc., even crack units and UPSs. We do the network layer. We'll do the application layer, whether that's standard applications, non-standard, databases, big data like SAP HANA and Hadoop. We'll actually have an end-user experience synthetic layer, and we have above that, because we can capture all these metrics, we have business service management, which is, again, the correlation of all those activities. So on top of all that, we do virtual environments. So if you have VMware, if you have Xen, you have Hyper-V, we can capture those metrics. If you've got assets in the cloud, we can capture those, whether it's a public or private cloud. So it's all about breadth. It's all about end-to-end breadth, capturing that information, bringing it together, and really doing process analysis. And that's what management has been completely missing, for the last 10 or 20 years. Now, there are tools in the market today, like IBM Tivoli and HP OpenView and things like that, that attempt to address the problem. But again, this is a bit of a sales pitch, but what they did is that those systems were created via a series of acquisitions. And so what they really have is a series of tools that kind of glued together in the hope that this will work. So it's very expensive to acquire all those tools to give you that breadth. It's very hard to integrate them. It's an integration step, and it's very hard to maintain them over time. So our unique approach is to deliver a unified monitoring platform. It's a single appliance that does everything across the board. So there's no integration step. You don't buy the tools separately. And again, if you have to make a change here in the organization or here in the product, it's reflected in another function somewhere else. So you kind of get the benefit of any changes in the product flow through the entire product. And I think that's a bit of a sales pitch, but that's the real problem. The problem is that, again, we're giving management that end-to-end view of everything, and we're doing it via this unified platform that has an extremely short time to value and a very easy maintenance cycle.
And one thing I might notice, HP OpenView came to the market, and if you have the original manual, it's probably rotted already. It's been around for a while. It hasn't grown to meet the market demands, in my estimation.
Right. I've heard the term recently used. It's a Cold War product, and I kind of, I can use that in this forum. So it's not a last generation. It's a Cold War product, and I think that's, it's a bit of a pejorative, but it's reasonably accurate as well.
Just so you know, Marty, half a panel here are kind of Cold War product.
Well, I am too. So I'm a good company.
Marty,
not you, John. You're the youngest.
New War, yeah.
Go ahead, Paul. We're trying to get you up there.
Sorry, I've just been making notes because obviously this is great to hear this, Marty, because this is dead center of what I'm involved in. So I'm really interested. The first question I had is this something that fits above the APM tier? If you had APM solutions, is this a business process layer above that, or is this part of the whole solution, the APM piece as well?
It's part of it, but there are other solutions that really do deeper APM than we do. What we do is that we will monitor the devices and we'll see the status of the devices, but an APM will really dig deep into the packet layer and see how the packets are moving from device to device. So we integrate with various APMs, and we have an integration with a company called CoralSense locally, and we can integrate with others as well. But we don't go down to the packet layer. That's for other sort of specialized tools. We sit on top of everything else, and we can act as that manager of managers for something like an APM to bring up those key metrics and make that part of the holistic view.
Okay. Who do you target in your customer base? Because you explained that this is across technology, this goes across all the technology specialisms. So who do you actually target when you're going in to approach a customer?
Yeah, well, it's a bit of a challenge because we have to really approach someone at the management level, because it impacts everyone else. If you go to an individual who's managing servers or whatever, they've got some tools and they're probably reasonably happy. The person who isn't happy is the management layer, because they don't know. They get the finger pointing. Well, it's not the network, it's the storage guys. It's not the storage guys, it's the server guys, or it's the application. Here we are the baseline. So we are kind of normalize that. So we have to sell to the management layer. And once the management layer buys in, they can sort of say, listen, guys, we really need your help here, to buy into this unified solution so we can have business process views. Otherwise, they're not going to get business process views. They're going to get 12 different consoles with 12 different tools, and they're going to have 12 different views of reality. In our case, we deliver the reality. We're the real-time reality of that organization, so management can be proactive. And to the extent that someone has a favorite tool, we can still act as a manager of managers and upload the metrics just like APM. But hopefully we make it cost-effective for them. Instead of having 12 or 15 tools, get it down to a reasonable set, and we can be the unifying layer.
So, I don't want to stir things up, but would you say that you're competing with things like business objects, that style of solution?
I don't think they're a monitoring solution per se. They're an analytics tool. So they're companies that try to do a piece of it. Even Splunk tries to represent themselves as doing monitoring. But I think what they really are is a very good analytics company. They're not really a monitoring solution, a platform. That's what we do.
Okay.
So business objects would be, again, we could actually pass a business objects, metrics, and they could do some analytics around that. But I don't think anybody would buy them as a monitoring tool. That's not what their target.
But really, the people who would be watching your tool, your pane of glass, would be the chief operating officer, or
it would be everybody. It serves everybody from the CIO to a director level or management level, all the way down to the operator. So certainly, if you're a CIO, you're just looking at an executive dashboard that says, how is your trading application doing? Am I in the green, or am I in a critical or warning state? And you can drill into that. But the operators below can actually see again what's happening in their area of responsibility. So it's a complete platform across the organization, and you can drill into things like that. So even if you're the CIO, you're at the executive layer. If you want to know why your trading application is in a warning state, you can drill into that, see all the devices or the processes that go into that process, which ones are in a critical state, which ones are causing a degradation, and you can give that guy a call. But hopefully with our system, it's going to be solved before that executive even hits that button and sees the status.
Right. I'll shut up for a while.
No. Good
Marty,
question,
I was
Paul.
just wondering. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Tim.
No, I just said good questions, Paul. Thank you.
Marty, I was just wondering, what size of company are you targeting primarily, or are you going, local and state government, or who is kind of your ideal customer and who you're working with right now?
Yeah, I think it's size-wise. We look for organizations that probably have, at least 5 to 10 IT professionals, and that shows a certain level of complexity to the organization. It's not so much employees; it's really, IT. The more devices and types of devices, and if you're spread out more, so the more complexity in your environment, the more we can help. So it's really solving that complexity. So if you've got 5 or 10 IT executive, that's kind of the baseline, and then we go up from there.
Do you sell direct or do you go with partners?
We have a mix right now. We're certainly looking for partners to help us go to market more. But to the extent we have a partner that's engaged and prepared and can help us sell and support our customers, we'll use a partner. So our preference is to use partners. But to the extent we don't have a partner, we'll take it direct. We're not going to turn down business. And we have a very healthy practice among resellers as well as managed service providers. So what we're actually seeing is we're seeing a lot of traction with managed service providers that, again, are even more motivated than enterprises to offer a cutting-edge technology that can save them money and be more efficient for their customers.
Let me pose the questions to Tony, because Tony has a very broad perspective. He gets to see a lot of different customers from different sizes of enterprise customers. Do you see anything? What's your comment? What's your thought on this, Tony?
Well, I think just the whole generic market that the SLA market, the overall view of my network market, it's quite popular and very attractive because as Marty said a moment ago, the same person from the CIO all the way down to the directors looking at the same pane of glass. What I find to be the biggest challenge with the tools is afterwards trying to tweak it and trying to make that gauge green and what makes it green and what makes it red. And I call it shoveling coal into the fire at the beginning just to get things going. That whole setup process and the tuning process, to me, is always the make or break moment as we go through the tools, as well as incorporating devices that you have an oddball device that you want to incorporate with it, and it's not a standard SNMP MIB or it's hard to manage. Those types of, I don't call them stumbling blocks, but just the growing pains of getting it out there. That tends to be the biggest challenge, but this is the whole BSM SLA view of the network seems to be more popular than even APM, because APM is more nitty-gritty. I'm trying to fix something, where this is how's my network feeling today? How's your blood pressure? How's your temperature? That sort of thing, right?
Yeah, I think the first step in solution is recognition. You can't fix anything unless you can recognize that there is deviant behavior. Something is not going right. And one of the things that I've looked at when I've looked at Centerity is that I hate the comment single pane of glass, but it's very, very good. I mean, a fighter pilot only has to see that one little heads-up display, and he knows everything going on, and he can tell if something changes. And I think that's the big thing in networks today. They're so dynamic. If you're not watching them, they're like your kids. They're going to get in trouble, or like Denny, he'll get in trouble.
Yeah, I agree with Tony. I think getting back to his question, we are. There's a couple things that support our unified platform and make us the broadest product in the market today, and I'm not just saying that, I really do believe it. That number one, we've devised a system of plugins, so it's very easy for us to describe an interface and create a query for a particular device. So rather than having to go in and change the product and do real detailed code to adapt to another device that has come on the market, we actually just have these series of plugins that are very simple descriptions of the interface and the information you're looking for, and we can develop those very, very quickly within minutes or hours, and even our clients can do that, drop that into the product, and it works very quickly. So we come up with very novel solutions, even like, say, SAP HANA, very complex systems. Again, we were motivated to do it, but we were able to do it in a couple of days, also covering Hadoop and MongoDB and things like that. We also have we also can take a MIB from a new device and drop that into a converter and create these plugins automatically. So those are two key, very, very important things to be able to expand and cover that oddball device, because they're going to come up all the time. And I think that's why organizations like us and MSPs like us, because we can rapidly adapt to those new devices or versions of devices as they come on. And again, supporting all that is the unified platform. So once you've got that oddball device covered, the information and the metrics from that device flow through the entire product. And that's what, again, time to value is a common term I really use with our product. It was, we can be up, in days or weeks, typically, even for a fairly large organization, and that's huge. Time to value is huge because organizations drift, things change. We can meet the challenge very, very quickly, and I think that's a huge advantage for us.
Hey, Marty, I wonder if we could take a step back and give you a chance to talk about your the founders of the company. Tell us a little bit about the genesis. How did this came about, and what were the background of the people behind the company?
Yeah, we have two founders, but one principally is our CTO. He worked in actually several telco organizations in Israel, and he was struggling with this. I think he worked with products like HP OpenView, and again, not to diss those products, but they are what they are. And again, struggling with two types of problems. Number one, those very clunky, yes, enterprise VSM products that are very hard to maintain over time. So very painful to maintain over time. You need lots of bodies over a long period of time to stay at it, number one. And he was also dealing with clients in situations where they had too many tools in the organization. So I think that really motivated him, that there must be a better way. There must be a better way than having 10, 15, 20 tools in the environment and trying to run to each console and to get that version of reality. And there also must be something different than, again, the larger VSM solutions that are extremely painful and extremely expensive to deploy, maintain, and again, take a long, long time to deploy. So there was an opportunity he saw right there. Give this, come up with a unified platform that installs quickly, that gets you into production. We can be collecting data at the end of the first day. Maybe not all your data, but the product can start functioning at the end of the first day. And what we love to do, I'm skipping around a little bit, but what we love to do when we're in a competitive situation is say, let's do a POC. Let's go in there and do a proof of concept. We've scared to death any of those legacy sort of BMC systems or our BSM systems just because they can't possibly deploy them in a couple of days to do a proof of concept. We can do that, and that's a great thing. So that's the challenge that Moshe Sharon saw. Again, those two polar opposites. Many tools in an environment versus a BSM system that was simply not responsive to an organization. And the solution was the unified approach, again, easy to deploy and easy to maintain over time. And that's where we are. And in talking to Gartner, recently we won an award from Gartner. We're one of their cool vendors in IT operations and unified monitoring. And what I've heard from them is they're going to offer it as a reporting class, so they're going to offer a Magic Quadrant, I believe, by the end of this year in unified monitoring, that term. So I think that's a great support of Moshe's vision of the world to offer a unified platform, and now it's a class of monitoring product all by itself, or soon to be.
Okay. Well, thank you, Marty. I'm going to try to keep this video to less than 30 minutes because I think, as Tony has said in the past, that if we make it too long, people would just put it in the watch later list and never watch. So unless you have any more that you wanted to tell our audience, I'm going to just pass it to our panel member and let them have the closing comment. Is that okay, Marty?
Sure. Go ahead.
Okay. Hey, Paul, you want to go first? What's your final thought on this?
I think I agree with Tony that and even with Marty, getting end-to-end visibility of your systems is becoming so important because not only do we have multiple technology teams supporting these things, we've now got multiple commercial organizations supporting them. We're putting things in the cloud. I just see this becoming more and more of a problem, this visibility thing. So anything that helps is good in my book.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Paul. And Tony, I don't know why, but when Marty mentioned the single pane of glass, I keep thinking of you as the window washer.
So does Sue, but that's a different issue.
Yeah.
A real job, buddy.
Tony's job is to go in there and fix it and not to be seen again, right, Tony?
That's right, a ninja.
A ninja, yeah. So what do you think, Tony?
I welcome these products. I think it's absolutely fantastic. In a certain respect, I think they're long overdue. I'm just always, I'm not going to say cautious, but I'm always quite interested to see how they unfold and how they roll out. And I'm the kind of guy who typically gets brought in after it's been deployed. And the question is always, how easy is it to maintain? How easy is it to add new products or new networks? And and I find the day-to-day usage of the tool is, again, what makes or breaks it. Is it something just IT managers use and the technical people loathe because it's something they have to support? Is it something that's truly cross-departmental? Those are the kinds of things I like to kind of see, again, how they unfold, only because that's what's going to determine if it's actually used or if it just becomes shelfware,
Yeah, I agree with you, Tony. I think getting a tool for your enterprise is like getting a mistress. It's never as no maintenance as they claim.
All right.
We need to talk offline, Danny. Okay.
This is. I just read in the book. This is not from experience.
Sounds like a therapy session.
And John, welcome back again. I want to make sure that you spend equal time commenting on Marty's product as well as giving us an update on who's on my network, or who's on my Wi-Fi.
Sure. Yeah, I'm excited to hear what Marty's doing with kind of the single pane of glass, and I mean I can definitely see to where as long as management actually really kind of feels value from it, and it's not just a burden on IT, then yeah, I mean it's incredibly helpful. But it's it's all going to be kind of at the do the executives really get value from the product, and that's really kind of the whole game. So yeah, it's exciting to see. Yeah, with what's going on with who's on my Wi-Fi, it's really just kind of been growing very fast in the last few months. We were featured on Lifehacker, and we actually made the news down in Chile on CNN, and things have kind of just been growing very rapidly, and we're trying to just keep up and kind of hold on. So.
Yeah, so for those of you watching, I encourage you to go to John's website and just download a free copy. This is not an evaluation copy. This is a full function piece of software that you can use right away. You might not, I mean, if think about if you're a small business running a coffee shop or something and you're offering free Wi-Fi, you cannot afford not to know who's on your Wi-Fi. And if you're a parent having kids in the family, having kids like we all do now, you want to know what's going on. So definitely go check it out. Tim, your final thought, and I'll let you close the show.
Okay. Well, first off, John, I talk about your product every time I do a Georgia Bureau of Investigation or a post presentation, or even what I do for colleges and high schools. So, great product. People need to have it in their homes too. Marty, your product, I mean, I've looked at the views and all that, and I really do believe that the simplicity of the views really is something you could actually explain to an executive without, having the glaze over eyes and the head hitting the table. Because I've looked at your views. I look at it's called the single pane of glass. And Tony's a terrible window washer, I know for a fact. But but no, you have an incredible product, and I just don't know why it hasn't caught on yet. But maybe it's because you haven't had visibility. And I really do believe you have a cool product. I think it's going to be fun. Now, one thing, tell everybody, how do people get to play with your software? Can they download a demo, or how do they get to play with it?
Yes, we have a demo online. If somebody wants to contact me, we'll give them a login. They can play with the system online. It's also a software appliance, so it's downloadable, so people can play with it. It's an enterprise class product, though it's not a tool. We would think of it more as a platform, so people have to put a little effort into it. But we're certainly willing to support them and help them along. And we're not completely in stealth mode either. I mean, we have great references from SAP. We have a great relationship with SAP. Cisco is offering us using our solution as a managed service. KPN in Europe, a major telco in Netherlands, is offering us as a managed service. So I don't think we're completely stealth yet, but we're not a wholesale world either. We have to work on that.
Yeah, well, I just sent you a reference to a good company. Well, I want to thank John, Tony, Paul, and Paul, he had to give up a pint to get on this thing. And I really hope, Marty, that we can help you, become so big that you won't even have time to talk to us.
I'll always talk to you guys. You guys are going to be on my mantle there.
That's what they all say, Marty.
Yeah. Well, I think this is great. I think there's some cool stuff on here. I think you got a great technology, and I hope people start downloading and take a look at it. You're going to have an article coming up pretty soon. that's we're going to put up, and it's going to talk about all the wonderful things one experiences in progressing their network. Tony, you know that. Paul, you know it.
Hey, Tim, I thought I'd remind you to reach out to our sponsors and future sponsors and talk about how a wonderful feature LMTV is.
Well, I think it is cool. I think people get a chance to talk about their technology. It's a special thing we do for sponsors. John's back. Hi, John. It's something we're doing this year for our sponsors, and it gives you a platform to talk about your product and technology and get out in front of people. And I think we're going to do more, and we're going to get people excited about listening to our TS. That's technical stuff for you dirty-minded people. So all I got to say is thank you, Marty. I think it's been great. I hope people go and look at your website, and if they need to, they can contact you directly. And John, keep up the good work. Paul, stay out of jail. Tony, I don't want to talk about what happened with INS, but so everybody out there, be blessed. Have a beautiful day, and go to Centerity.com.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, John. Thank you, Marty. Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Paul. Stay on.
Marty,
I'm going to stop the broadcast, but stay on.
Okay.